Hello, this is Linda Comeau, and welcome to Conversations around our upcoming 2015 North American Systemic Constellations Conference. And today with me I have Bascha Meier of New Zealand, and her talk is Soul for Women on Friday, November 13th, 7 to 8:30. Welcome, Bascha.
Thank you very much, Linda Comeau. I'm really grateful for everything that you're doing for at the conference, and equally I'm excited about coming to the conference. It's my third one, so I have I'm part of that global family over there and have met a lot of people, and it's my first time presenting, and I'm looking forward to flying over from New Zealand to do this. I'll be coming via Indonesia and bringing some of the beautiful Balinese energy with me.
Excellent. Oh, can't wait to meet you in person.
Yeah.
I've got a few questions for you. First of all, everybody wants to know how everybody describes constellations. It's so personal, but if we share our ideas, perhaps we'll gain something. So, Bascha, please give me an idea of how you describe constellations to a stranger. Let's say you're at a cocktail party or something.
Okay, yeah, that's a good example actually, Linda, because at a cocktail party, for example, or any social business, or are doing whatever they do in their life, and the usual question pops up, what do you do? And then I sort of say, well, I'm a constellation facilitator and trainer, and also work. And so then I get an interesting look from people. They are not quite sure how to respond. Often the first response is constellation work stars. And so I actually pick up on that and run with that and say, well, it's interesting you say that. What we're actually working with here is family systems. And, when we look at the stars in the constellation in the sky, they are like light connections, and there is a grid pattern and there is some intricacy going on, and it's very, very similar in our family system. And at that moment I also mentioned that in business or in our professional life, that the same universal laws of a family system apply, because I find that people immediately, their next question is this family therapy, is this psychotherapy, or something along those lines? And there I actually say to them, look, we're looking at a system, and in nature everything strives for balance. So immediately when I start to talk about striving for balance, like we look at a tree, or we look at, for example, a flock of birds that are migrating, and all of a sudden they turn a corner and they all seem to move in the same sort of system, or in the same pattern or the same matrix, that is sort of an example of how intimately connected we are all the time to our loved ones that are still alive, and also our deceased loved ones. So I sort of explain that to them, and that at a soul level, all the members of a family are deeply bonded to each other, no matter how it may look on a surface. So it's bond of love and loyalty, and that runs very deep. And so then what happens is, the next question I usually hear from them is, well, if I'm interested in constellation work, is it going to be about my family issues? And I say, well, we often carry something in our lifetime that feels like it doesn't belong to us. And that seems to really resonate with people. And I say, well, it could be something like a migraine headache, or a symptom of dis-ease, or an inability to make decisions, or you're wondering why your business is not selling. Whatever it is, sometimes these are entanglements in our family system, and they go back transgenerationally. And so what happens is, to balance the system, in the subsequent generations, someone takes on that particular deep unexplained sadness, or that grief, or that feeling of a burden, because of a fate or a heavy destiny that has occurred in the female or male lineage of our family's ancestry. Even if we didn't actually know those people, that contained in the energy field, past, present, and future. And So what happens is, I explain to them, is that entanglement is giving that feeling in our life that often we're taking 5 steps forward, and then like an invisible force, we're like stuck or feeling paralyzed or held back in some way that is quite unexplainable. And by looking at a constellation, a living map or a living landscape, and going back to the root cause of that entanglement or that grief that was not expressed, following the orders of love, which I find very important to mention briefly to people: the right to belong, the order of precedence, and the balance between giving and taking. And when I mention those 3 orders of love, people seem to really resonate with the feeling of the right to belong. That seems to be quite a common understanding of people. And I explain to them that the work is very experiential, and it is really awesome to come along to a workshop and experience how we tap into the morphogenic field, the living energy field that is around us, surrounding us all the time. And it's the same field that animals are very naturally attuned to. So I often use the example of a dog that will bark every day, 10 minutes before its owner comes home, knowing that their owner is driving up the driveway to their house. And so explaining it, I keep it simple. I do sort of check out who am I talking to, but I keep it as simple and as brief as possible. And I talk about the feeling of love flowing again through the lineage, and allowing that love to then transform and transmute people's pathway forward in their life to more increased health, to more harmony and balance in their relationships.
Excellent. Oh gosh, I'm on the same wavelength. I do talk about the morphogenic field also. That's cool. Okay, a quick other question perhaps. It doesn't have to be quick, of course, but do you use constellations for your personal life? And what kind of, what kind do you use?
Yeah, interesting question. For my personal life, I think what I've learned over the years of working closely with Bert and Sophie Hellinger as their interpreter, and just being aligned to their latest insights, is that the use of the energy and the energy field on a daily basis, like Sophie Hellinger's work with cosmic power, coupled with Bert Hellinger's work and involvement in constellation work over the years, has actually taught us all as participants to tune into that greater field on a daily basis. So that's how I harness it the most. So in the mornings when I am awakening in bed, I sort of tune into that greater field, that greater movement of the soul. And when I'm teaching in workshops, it's really about attunement. And so when someone's stepping into the field as a representative, we're attuning to those movements. We're becoming that empty, hollow reed, and we're allowing a greater love and a greater movement to move us forward in life. And as Bert Hellinger has always said, life is movement, movement is life. We move forward to more, pause, back to less. And so in the morning, I just set that into motion. And I find throughout my days, the days flow better. And it's like, as we know, we are all electromagnetic beings, basically. And so we can be like magnets. And so we attract to us with that flow, that which we have set as our loving intention for the day in our business life, or our goals, or what we need to achieve in a day. And it leads to a more effortless flow of life. So I use the constellation process in that way. And I always imagine behind me my ancestors and the support that is there. And closing my eyes in a meditative state is another way that I use the constellation work. So it's like doing my own brief constellations inwardly, where I imagine my male lineage, for example, and I can sense, where is the greatest power coming from? Is it maybe from my grandfather on my mother's side for any particular issue that I'm facing? Or if I'm having to sign contracts or look at a business issue, it may not be that my own parents at that moment have that greatest power to assist me. It could be 1 or 2 or 3 generations back. And that is best, I find, for myself personally to do in a meditative state. Could be walking in nature. I don't need to necessarily be sitting in a yoga position to be meditating. And yep, so that's my personal experiences.
Oh, that's excellent. That's cool. Okay, well, I'm most anxious to hear now about your talk coming up. So Soul for Women, tell us about your talk, please, Bascha.
So for women, I decided to present at the conference for a female-only participation, but not in a way that I want people to feel that I don't equally like to hold workshops and work with people of both genders. I very much like working with men and mixed groups. What my intention was here is that through working with women over the last 2 years, I have been discovering that in these fast-changing times that women are juggling a lot, like they're carrying a lot of balls in the air. They're wishing to step forward in their own true magnificence, their authenticity. They're juggling career, work, their marriage, maybe constraints in where they live and they want to travel. And so what I've noticed is that a lot of women are really strongly shifting into that yang energy. So I developed and used as an energy warmer exercise a yin-yang model. It's inherent within all of us. We have that female energy and the male energy. And for integration and balance, ideally those two poles, those polar opposites like night and day and yin and yang, come into some sort of a merge, or that we can actually consciously move with the field into that yang energy, but also move into the yang to re-establish balance. And so the model that I've created is also can be used for management, for business purposes, and also just to work blindly with it. So in the workshop, things will be kept with minimum words used, working blindly in a way very aligned how Bert Helling has been working in the last few years. So to keep perception as clear as possible, because what happens is we all carry stories and our humanness gets in the way. And so using this yin-yang model, we will be creating a very intimate and a very luscious setting for women where they feel safe to share and to feel that sense of oneness and bringing in the female ancestry, but also the male ancestry, and just bringing to light any remnants, curses, past life remnants that are still holding them back from moving forward fully and authentically. It's about authenticity now. In the next few years, everyone's been called up to be raw, real, authentic, and sustainable success is what's being demanded, whether it's in our personal life, harmony, in our couples relationships, and also business and in health especially. And that's where I'd just like to mention about the health is that there seems to be a rising, I'd almost call it a pandemic, of thyroid issues, and also thyroid and burnout symptoms, bore out, adrenal fatigue. And working with this yin-yang model, have had some amazing feedback from women worldwide about shifts and changes and how they're feeling also more grounded and more centered in what they're doing. So that's going to be the essence. I don't want to really share a lot more than that. We will be also starting off with a movement meditation, and sort of the experiences that I'd love to share is that if we build up that energy field slowly and strongly at the beginning of the workshop, put time into it with a movement meditation, realigning the energy chakras, the 7 earthly chakras. And this is not woo-woo. This is actually so that we can be totally grounded in reality, because we are living in, a real society where there are so many demands on us. So I'm building up the field in a constellation workshop, and then going and moving into constellation pieces of work. The field is so strong that the work takes on such a dynamic, as if by itself the field leads the way. And I'm a great believer in the field leading the way, that as constellation facilitators, we are there to hold the space and to work with integrity and love, to work from root cause to resolution.
Excellent. Oh, that sounds very exciting. Oh gosh, that sounds super. Well, I so appreciate you taking time out with us today. Thank you very, very much. And I so look forward to meeting you in person.
Oh, my pleasure, Linda. And thank you very much for the opportunity. And I so look forward to being in that collective environment there at the Bahia Resort, and meeting all the other participants, presenters, and great thanks to the volunteers and organisers. And I'll be there at the door doing the greeting. So that's my voluntary role, and I really look forward to that. So thank you very much for your time.
Great. We'll see you there. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.